trifling and Etruscan, addicts of drugs not yet synthesized, black marketeers of World War III, excisers of telepathic sensitivity, osteopaths of spirit, investigators of infractions denounced by bland paranoid chess players, servers of fragmentary warrants taken down in schizophrenic shorthand, charging unspeakable mutilations of the spirit, officials of unconstituted police states, brokers, vendors.
We are here with the Free Thinkers Society number 3 with the host of the Free Thinkers Society, Michael Romanelli.
What's up, everyone? Here we are, number 3. I can't believe it's number 3 already. Feels
already, we're so deep into the
deep into number 3. Oh my god! So we're here with number 3. This is almost like I want to call this almost an emergency broadcast because how crazy we're about to come out of lockdown in New Jersey. So I've been a little nuts with my business, but I had to get my boy on. I'm really excited for this guest. So we're doing almost an emergency broadcast. I got my boy. His name is James Currey, originally from New Jersey. I know this guy since he was a young guy, since he was young.
Yeah, since I was in my early 20s, man.
Early 20s.
Over a decade.
I know him for a while. He was an amateur fighter, fucking fought and rolled with some of the best pros in New Jersey, and busted his balls a lot as a kid until I realized he could kick my ass at any time. So he is the host of We.The.People.Radio podcast that's blowing the fuck up right now during this quarantine. I'm so happy to have him on. This is my boy, my brother from another mother. This is James Currey. What's up, James?
What's going on, Mike? I'm really excited to be on. I've been really looking forward to doing this with you since you told me you started this project.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you on, man. So
yes.
I don't know if you've listened to any other podcasts that I've done before, but so we do no carnival parking, and we went a little deep because it was during quarantine when a lot of the things in my mind and the crazy shit that I was thinking about everyone started talking about and questioning narratives and everything. So no carnival is really more of the comedy club where it's a little bit crazy, and then I wanted to get a little bit deeper, and I really wanted to get more serious because we have a lot of fun there, which is awesome. It's a great hang for comedy and stuff, and I'll drop fucking truth bombs here and there, but I wanted to start this podcast to really just question all the narratives. So I know there's been a couple times I text you and I want to have you on, and I want to debate you on Q, and I want to debate you on Trump and things like that, and I said, you know what, fuck that. One, you're one of my best friends, and I don't want to do that because we can argue and we could show people that eventually that you can have
I'm down to do it, man.
Yeah, you can have a debate, right? You can have
I think discussion is important.
It is, and people need to understand that you can do that and still be friends.
Absolutely.
That you can, yeah, and the world needs to see that right now. They really
I
does.
think so. You're absolutely right.
You know, and yeah, and I wanted to do that, but I can't stop with this thought, and I didn't know who else to call to have this conversation with, but you. I feel like you're the guy. You're the guy that when I need a little bit of research, or I have some of my friends in the community or whatever, but when things like when I got to validate something right away and they don't even know, some of my I'll ask you and you'll be like, boom, and you show me the proof. I mean, you are a free thinker and a deep diver. I mean, you go and you know all the stuff. So the topic I want to bring up today is something that I've been talking about for a while and kind of intuitively and almost pulling it out of my ass. And now I know it happens a lot of times with me. I got to say, free thinking, I hate the fucking word conspiracy. A lot of times it comes just with intuition. Things don't feel right. And
Absolutely.
This topic hasn't felt right for a while. And that is, are we at war with China? And have we been at war with China for a lot longer than we think? That's what I want to talk to you about today. I don't know how you feel about that. I'll let you talk for a second, but I have a couple ideas of why I feel that way.
Well, I think it's a very interesting topic because China, people don't realize how much China has their grubby little paws inside of literally every industry inside of our country. And our country
allies.
literally bends the knee to China all the time because of the way that they think. I don't know if you're familiar with how they handle Hollywood and things like that. I actually just I tweeted out a picture of two covers of Star Wars, one from America and one from China. And the one from America, I don't even know the guy's name, the character's name, the black character who is the stormtrooper, and switch sides. They have him on the American version, but because China's actually really racist, unlike America, they don't want that on their covers, so they had it removed.
Before we even go deeper, what about? I remember being in the gym before I was, because I was someone that really fell for COVID. I was scared of it, so I stopped going to the gym like 2 months before we were on lockdown. I remember being in the gym listening to the radio or something, and everyone was talking about this LeBron thing, and I think the commissioner, right? You know more about sports than me. The
David
NBA
Stern,
commissioner, right? They were all bowing to China.
Big time. Oh,
right?
Big time.
They were all they were changing things, and they were saying freedom of speech was bad or something like that. Like there was a big.
I forget exactly what they were talking about,
right?
But
it was like they were
bending the
exactly
knee,
what it was.
Because everybody was comparing the president of China, President Xi, to Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, and that's my immature ass. I remember that. That's what I was gonna say. My immature ass just remembers calling him Winnie the Pooh, and then that's what I looked at. But yeah, back then it kind of reminded whatever. I'm not even gonna go this deep, but it reminds me of there's always this little calm before the storm, and that's what they're talking about with China. And everyone was upset about the NBA, and they were upset with the commissioner because they were bending the knee to China. And basically
that was well before COVID. That was
a couple months before. Yeah, a couple months before. They're talking about that, and the truth community was really upset because they were like, wait a minute. And they were talking about what you were saying, racism, all this stuff, and all these top black athletes and just athletes in general were just bending the knee to China because they got so much their money's so long, it's ridiculous. But
when COVID broke out, they were putting black people into internment camps in China. They were they thought that black people were more susceptible to the disease, and they were putting them in internment camps.
I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I heard they were throwing Muslims, like having the Muslims take care of all the Apple products, shaving their beards off. I don't know how true that is.
I don't know. I didn't hear that one.
Sam told me that. I don't know. He hasn't said it again, but he was telling me something about shaving Muslims' beards off, and I don't know, and something with the.
They're wild out in China.
Before we got into any of this shit, with more speculation, and I know the NBA thing and all that, bend the knee and the Winnie the Pooh was definitely a real thing. But, all right, let's back it even further up. I remember when 9/11 happened, right? When 9/11 happened about a year after you remember, I was 20, 21. I
was in 7th grade. I remember exactly
where I was. All my buddies wanted to go and fight terrorists, right?
Yeah, Nick did.
Yeah, so now when they come home, I'll never forget this, James and Clint. When they come home, they're the ones who really got me. I mean, besides 9/11, that's another day, and the whole thing that happened, and I was there. But besides that, when they got home, they're the ones who really got me. And we're talking about Army Rangers, SEALs. We're talking about high-ranking dudes. They're the ones who started getting me into the conspiracies and started telling me some crazy shit. I'm like, really? And they're fucking fried and telling me about crazy shit. But it was them, but then there was my one boy who was naval intelligence. And I'm not going to say his name or whatever. I haven't talked to him in years.
Don't name drop him.
No, I won't say his name. I haven't talked to him in years. But I'll never forget. One night we're chilling we're chilling down the shore. We're looking at the stuff. We're smoking, and I'm talking to him about what the other guys are saying. And he says, "Bro, it's not what you think." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It's not what you think." I go, "What does that mean?" He goes, "I spent all my time observing China. And right now your focus is on the world's focus is on the Middle East. It's really all about China." I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I'm telling you, bro, we're just observing them. They're observing us." He goes, "We're at a Cold War with them right now. And if you have kids someday, World War III is going to be with them." And I'll never forget when he planted this in my mind. He goes, "And it's not going to be like anything you ever saw in your life." And I go, "What does that mean?" He wouldn't get into it. This was a real deal dude that was he had a couple drinks in him, and that's as much as he's going to tell me. He goes, "I'm just going to tell you right now, it's going to be a different type of war. I can't explain it, but it's going to be different, and we're just watching each other, and we're holding." And I'm like, "All right, whatever, man." At this point, bodies are coming home from Afghanistan. We're pissed off. I got friends coming back saying we're guarding poppy fields. It was just this whole clusterfuck. And I just kind of put it away. I put it away, right? And then a lot of people I know, the pills go away. You can't get them anymore, and everyone's addicted. And all of a sudden, you have in your high school class, fucking 20 people are dead. And
especially in the East Coast, it was crazy.
Yeah, and we're not normal. It's not just us. It's every Massachusetts, everyone on the East Coast and Florida, boom, and they're all dropping from this fucking shit called fentanyl. Then you find out that fentanyl is just getting fucking sent here by the fucking kilos from China.
Mm-hmm. They say it's even more so than what Pablo Escobar was sending in as far as cocaine back in the 80s.
Okay.
It pales in comparison.
Yeah, James, and guess what? There's some sick motherfuckers out there. Charlie Sheen could smoke half of that kilo, and he's got a career. Nobody.
He's got his tiger blood eating.
Yeah,
kids.
nobody can. You can't. I don't care who the fuck. Dude, I'm telling you, some of the hardest motherfuckers I've known in the music industry and the rave scene and all these crazy scenes where they call themselves cockroaches, nothing can kill me, are dead because of a little bit of this fucking drug.
If you even cops or EMTs and stuff are dying just touching it, getting it on their skin.
Yeah, and the Narcan's not even enough. I watched a thing. Sam Tripoli made me watch this documentary. I think it was called Dope. And these guys are out in Massachusetts where there's just crazy, crazy street. And they don't even have enough Narcan to fucking wake people up. That's how strong this fentanyl is.
It's killing people like on the spot. Like I believe that's what killed Mac Miller as well. He had fentanyl in his system.
James, anyone that's died recently from drugs, it's fentanyl.
No,
they have no idea.
It's terrifying.
Dude, it's in coke. It's in everything. Like, you shouldn't be doing recreational drugs right now because there's just fentanyl. They put and so here we go. So I'm talking about World War III. So before COVID, before all this bullshit, this new world we're living in, people were dropping for the last 5, 6, 7 years like flies.
Craziness.
And then some people I know have been saying it's the opium. It's that China. It's a slow way to take over. And first it was.
Go ahead.
Yeah. First it was let's flood them. Not to also mention even like the psychedelics, which I know I'm a big advocate for psychedelics. A lot of the psychedelics coming out of China are tainted with different kind of drugs that are making people freak out, jump off of things that are coming from their super labs are meant to almost fuck us. And it's like, I believe. So I was like, somebody said something about the opium wars to me, and this is their way of getting back because I guess we hurt them with something. I don't know much about this topic, but that was the first time I ever heard about the fentanyl. Oh, they're getting back at us because I guess we did something with their opium a long time ago, and that slowly they're going to just kill many of our kids, right? Now you have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it all comes back to the fact that you're absolutely right. They are trying to slowly kill us with fentanyl and other things because they're heavily invested in our agricultural system, in our food, and in many other things in our entertainment. Pretty much everywhere they're heavily invested. Like, their money is spent very, very well in our country, and they have a lot of controlling power at this point. It's really, really scary. What they're able to do, and it's funny that you say that we're at a war because when President Trump was running for office, he came out and he's like, "Listen, you guys are crazy. Like, Russia is not our biggest adversary. The Middle East is not our biggest adversary. We need to worry about China. We need to worry about what they're doing."
And I'm telling you, anybody in the military that I trust have been saying that forever. My grandfather, who was a World War II guy, I actually have 3 grandfathers. No, that doesn't make sense, but I do. And
you have step-grandfathers, you have things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And he was a paratrooper in World War II, and he would talk to me about China, and I thought he was just a crazy old man. I thought he was like, what is that, Gran Turismo? Like, what do you... Yeah. But now everything he's saying just haunts me. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, these guys are on the front lines, and they really saw what we were fighting over.
James,
like, when you hear about the stories, when you go back to the opium, that our soldiers are there guarding the opium fields when the Taliban.
And then all of a sudden, OxyContin runs out, and everyone's on the best dope in the world.
Yeah.
Then the dope runs out, and everyone's on fentanyl and dying.
It's wild.
James, do you remember this story?
When you start tracing things back and finding out where it's coming from and where it starts and why we're doing the things that we're doing, it's honestly terrifying because China is a major power in this world.
They have 1 billion people, man.
Yeah, well, they have way more people than we do. And they're killing their newborns because there's laws on how many children they're allowed to have. So they want to have sons and boys and things like that.
James, do you remember this one? I just remembered this right now. It's not even in my notes. Fentanyl is in my notes. But do you remember this one? Do you remember, 8-9 years ago, when toys from China, kids were licking them and they were laced with the paint had GHB in them?
Yes, I do remember that.
But what the fuck?
Like, why?
Paint isn't that hard to make. Why would you put a drug inside of paint?
It makes no sense.
Everything's starting to line up.
I think that there's people that are much smarter than we are, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they're carrying out an agenda. Because you see they have almost military bases on the ports of our country, China. Our previous leadership, doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican, they were literally selling all of our intelligence and our secrets to China. Wow. They were literally giving it away. They were literally selling all of our manufacturing to China. And look at where we're at right now. COVID happens, and I believe the number was like 48% of our medication is made in China.
Yeah.
Now, if we actually went into a serious war and China was like, hey, we're not going to give you your medication anymore, like your beat, our country's in deep, deep trouble.
Or if they start, they could start paying the pills with GHB they use for the fucking Legos.
Yeah, well, they're doing it on purpose. They know exactly what they're doing. Each pill with a little bit. Like, why were you painting fucking Legos with GHB? I don't know if it was really Lego. I'm sorry if it's Lego comes after me. Maybe it was fucking He-Man. I don't know. But they were painting some kind of toys, and kids are fucking licking the toys like every little kid does, and they're fishing out like they were at the fucking Sound Factory in 1994. It made no sense. Well, it's funny. You have China manufacturing all these toys, and I feel like they probably knew kids are going to start licking these things. They use all slave labor. The people that are making the toys probably have no idea like what they're doing. I find it crazy. Like, all these companies right now coming out and saying, "Oh, we stand with Black Lives Matter. Slavery is bad," so on and so forth. Meanwhile, their companies themselves, Apple, Nike, they're using slave labor in China to produce all their products.
Yeah,
it's crazy. China controls a huge portion of our manufacturing, and you see things. I use the analogy of people I'm like, look at, you go on Facebook or any social media and you see the ads for Wish.com. You ever see those?
Yeah, no. I mean, we're jumping. That's fine on my notes, and that's fine. And then it comes to Facebook, Instagram, all the social media stuff.
Well, no, I was talking about just the products themselves.
Yeah,
look at Wish.com. That's a company. That's a Chinese company.
Yes.
They advertise these ridiculous things, and some of them look pretty cool, but then you order them, and it's completely opposite. And then you have all the memes of people.
Yeah, and you're not going to get it back, and they don't care. And, dude, it happens all the time. But what about, like, with the social media stuff, right? Okay, I want to talk about a couple other things, about drugs or whatever, but we'll jump down to that. The riots, all the shit going on, people so angry. Listen, I get angry. I think I told James, we've talked so many times. I take the bait and I get upset with myself, but I turned the TV off a long time ago, but now it's like the computer. And I feel like that these boxes and these things that follow us, like, they know how to tug on our strings, right? And, like, if you were so ahead of you, like, okay, I'm not saying it's China, maybe it's Russia. I don't know who it is, but maybe it's even our own country. But let's just, for the sake of this topic, we'll call it China. You know how easy it would be to get a team of hackers to pull on the strings of everyone and show everything that's, like, they know what product I'm thinking about. You don't think they know how to fucking show me some social injustice that's going to make me fucking want to burn a Walmart down? They do.
Without a doubt. I mean, they definitely have bots, without a doubt, China. I got reposted yesterday by Candace Owens, and literally within 3 minutes, there was 100 comments on every single one of my posts, and it was word for word the exact same thing from different people. Word for word, they were saying the same exact thing. So as soon as it was posted, they had bots at the ready to start attacking. Yes. And I honestly, I think it's. I have a strong feeling that it is China. Like, they tried to say Russia is using bots and things like that.
So stoke the flame. So this is what I'm thinking. Like, I'm thinking, okay, something, George Floyd thing, terrible thing that happened. And I don't think there's any human that saw that footage, and I don't think there's any human, unless you're a fucking Klansman, there's no human that says that's okay.
No.
But then, okay, so
nobody
this
can sit there and watch
tragedy
it.
happens. Yeah, you can't watch it. I could only watch it one time. I
It's
couldn't even watch it
disgusting.
again. It's horrible. And even my friends who break things down, they say there's a lot of holes in it and the whole thing. I can't even watch it again.
Big
because
time
it's
holes.
so
But
yeah,
that's besides the point. It's still
let's
gut-wrenching to watch.
exactly right. And we don't know, but
And
definitely.
there's enough evidence to point the holes out, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that could be a whole nother thing. And honestly, I'm not sure if I'm even ready for that right now. Someday, but the thing that is that they're pulling on our strings, man. Something. I don't know. I'm everything's starting to move to China. So we kind of went down to the social media thing way later. I want to talk about, but check this out. When I was talking about George Floyd and the riots, so do you know how many counterfeit bills China's been pumping into do you know about this?
No, I don't. What they're pumping in counterfeit American
they're
dollars?
finding $50 and $100 bills. All like the way they're finding the Acme Wile E. Coyote bricks.
Yeah.
They're finding stacks of fucking fakes everywhere where there's a problem from China. It's very on the low right now. And the problem is, yes, and they're good enough. Like they're like the old rave 20s, where if you had the balls to give a fucking dealer a 20%, he might. But they're like good enough in the dark, but not. You really look at them, and the fucked up part
They
is
pass the marker test?
they don't pass the marker, but they pass enough. But when you really put them under the thing, they have Chinese writing on them.
Really?
Yes.
I'm surprised I didn't see this because
Bro,
this is
look into
24/7.
Hashtag look into it, bro. They're manipulating. They're bringing them in all the areas that you've seen a lot of riots. Anywhere you've seen a lot of fucked up shit, you're gonna find a couple 100,000 stashed in these places, and they're sending them to
Probably in the autonomous zone.
Yeah, all these kind of places, dude. All those places you're seeing a couple $100,000 just dropped, and they're getting dropped to people where you're like, huh. It's very
poverty-stricken areas.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent. It's really reminding me of the crack days.
Yeah, when they were just dropping off loads of crack.
It's really reminding me. And all of a sudden, everyone had crack everywhere. Everyone's got these fucking
and everybody
pallets.
was dying.
Yeah, everyone's got pallets of fucking. Dude, it's real weird. It's real.
Gary Webb is blowing the whistle, and he commits suicide to 2 bullets in the back of the head.
Why don't we? How come nobody? I mean, I know why, but looking into the footage from those buildings of all those piles of bricks getting set everywhere, nobody's looked into any of that.
James,
of course not. Of course they're not looking into that. They're
but
never
on the street, are there any on the street? Can you find them? You would know this.
What the bricks? The pallets of bricks?
Is there any video out there of them getting dropped off?
No, there's no video of them getting dropped off.
They've even been trying to expunge just regular people's posts. You know what I mean?
Well, dude,
of them,
I
or
know.
Not show them.
I am glued to the TV every night watching the protest, and
I don't know how you do it.
And one thing I'm going to tell you is, unless a Wendy's is getting set on fire or something's getting set on fire, they're all like, "Yo, they're jamming, So they're sending jammers so you're not going to see the bricks get posted.
No, well, you see, the peaceful protesters. Listen, I always have to preface that they should be protesting. Their voice. At the end of the day, there needs to be reform in the police department and with our law enforcement. It
100%.
just needs to happen.
Yes.
But the violent protesters are taking over, and they're using the peaceful protesters as a cover so they can get away with doing what they're doing. And I don't know if you saw the video. There was actually a bunch of peaceful protesters. They saw an Antifa guy, smashing up the sidewalk with a hammer, smashing it, and they picked him up and they handed him to the cops.
Yes.
They were like, "Yo, we don't want this. This is not one of." And you see it all over the place. And there's one woman who's filming these Asian ladies spray painting Black Lives Matter all over the walls, and they're trying to blame. Because they're trying to stoke the fire. That's what they're exactly what you said before.
Are they just trying to steal stuff, or are there just some insurgents there trying to fire everybody up so that it turns into?
You froze.
He was saying, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Go ahead, Clint.
Do you think that, like we were saying, do you think that it's really people I'm sure there are some, but I'm sure it's not that many people manipulating the riots so that they can steal stuff. More so, people get in there, like you're talking about, Antifa or whoever it is, and encourage people to get out of hand, and then it kind of carries into
provocateurs.
What it is. Yeah,
provocateurs.
Well, there's definitely paid agitators. It's 100%
on all sides. I'm going to say on all sides. I'm going to say on all sides, including and listen, and I stand with the cops to an extent. but even on the cop side. They all want to agitate. And people go,
what's
that's the
with
oldest.
all the videos of the cops?
Because it's the oldest trick in the book, man. To get the protesters out, the fucking cop, you throw
Make
a
it
couple of
look-
bricks.
Yeah, a lot of cops do have a hard on. They're like ready to roll. They're
Well,
like-
but also,
they're
but James,
let's
like
get this.
you got a big protest going on. It's annoying, whatever. So it's the oldest trick in the book. But a couple cops will come in and they'll throw a brick through, and they'll get because once you get there's a lot of these kids are young. You know what, man? When I was if I was this young, everyone looks at me like I'm crazy when I admit this. But if I was 16, 17, I'd probably be fucking out there right now. And everyone's like, really? I go, yeah, man. I fucking love
probably
Rage
would
Against the
be too.
Machine. You would too, James. I don't want to hear it.
I probably would.
You
be.
would.
I probably
and
would
we'd be out
But
there,
that was
and
the
we,
bullshit.
yeah, and we probably wouldn't do anything wrong. But you know what? If all of a sudden, boom, it's like the old mosh pit days and fucking Rage Against the Machine and everything. At first, you're like, I don't want to get involved. And then all of a sudden, the whole thing fucking erupts, and you're all fucking each other
And
up.
the
Like, it
Apple
happens.
stores is wide open.
Yeah, and I broke my fucking iPhone, so I need one.
No,
You know?
it's literally it's the old saying, monkey see, monkey
Yes.
do. Once you see a couple people start doing it, you don't want to be the one not
Especially
part
when
of
you're
the
young.
crowd.
Especially when you're young.
And that's what you were talking about earlier. I think that they play into our emotions and
Yes.
they use psychological tactics
Dude, I
to
fall
attack
for
us.
it. James, I still fall for it. I'm almost 40 years old. I still fall
We
for
all do. We all do. I listen. Like I was saying with the whole George Floyd thing. Like at this point, I have way too many questions to believe it as
it.
at
It's
face
fucking
value.
crazy. I mean, now they're talking about how those two used to fight at work all the time.
Yeah. Oh no, there's way too many holes. The ambulance showed up and no EMT came out. It was
Bro.
a police officer in a vest. Like we can go on for days about that.
Can't
But
fucking mention names. I had friends who work in the city who are EMTs, and they're not conspiracy theorists at all. They just listen to some of the podcasts I do, and they were like, I thought about it, but I guess not. And they were like, bro, right away, like, you understand that's not how we take care of. We don't wear bulletproof vests. That's not how things happen. And then I didn't watch it again. It's kind of in my mind. I remember they kind of just threw him down and everything. So I don't want to watch it again. I'm not, as I get to this age, I don't want to watch shit like this.
it was hard. He was
But I do
screaming for
remember
blood. It
that
was
part, and they
disgusting.
were explaining to me, and I'm like, I know they're right. Like I said, I watched it once. I don't want to watch it again. It was hard to watch. Regardless, somebody I think was killed, and I'm almost positive someone was killed. But
May have been a sacrifice, right?
yeah, but it doesn't matter. Whatever it was, there's a problem. I know, James,
Listen.
I know you're not racist at all.
Furthest
I know
thing,
you have not a
furthest
racist bone in your body, and I know that because we know a lot of the same people, and we're from a nicer town, and right on the border is a different town, and I know we've had these talks before all this crazy shit happens, that, black people are definitely treated different. Right?
Yeah, I in certain extents for sure. Like I was coming home from a movie. We were seeing a movie. It was me and my one good buddy Phil's. God bless him. I love him to death. He's one of my best friends in the world. And we smoked before we went to the movie, like we normally would. And we left, and we had some weed in the trunk, and he had some weed in his backpack. And we got pulled over in Cedar Grove, in a really nice white area.
Yeah.
And the cops were like, "Oh, we smell weed on you." And they pulled me and my girlfriend at the time aside. They're like, "Is that your drug dealer? Is he selling you weed?"
Yeah.
Like they were trying to pin it on my boy immediately. I was like, "Nah, dude." Like,
Always.
we went to go see a movie, and like we're on our way home. Like we're 20 minutes from the house. Like let us be. Like leave us alone. And they were like, "Well, we're not leaving until we search the car." And he's like, "Listen, I got a bag of weed in my car," and it was a dub. Meanwhile, we had an ounce in the trunk, and he wore it. And I bailed him out, and I love him to death for doing that.
But it got
you're
pinned.
abs-
I mean, you've seen it, man. You've seen it. We've all seen it, right? I mean,
Nah, at the end of the day, the cops as a whole, because like I think I was telling you the other day, I grew up in a majority white neighborhood, so the cops didn't really have black people to pick on. So they picked on the kids that they thought were doing the most trouble. And I happened to be a skater, and then I turned into a pothead, and they immediately start picking on you, and they start treating you differently. And I'm white, so I noticed it, and I can only imagine what people who are black, who live in poor neighborhoods, what they go through.
Or even in your neighborhood, in my neighborhood, there was
even in
a handful of black people in that neighborhood. Imagine what it's like to them.
100%.
Leaving the party. We're all leaving the house party. We're high school kids.
High ranking in the Air Force. I don't want to mention his name, but
you don't have
doing very well for himself. And he grew up. He was one of the only black kids in my grade, and he's doing very well for himself. And I've seen him go through it. But at the same time, like I went to Patterson one time, and I'm in Patterson with my same buddy Phil's, and the cops pulled over and grabbed
white.
me because they
white.
thought I was out there buying drugs and I'm tweaking.
See, that's another thing. But kind of ties into what we started talking about, the fentanyl crisis and the heroin crisis.
Yeah,
and that whole fucking thing, man, where in the 80s and the 90s, it was, first of all, which I don't even understand how a businessman can get caught with a bag of coke, and I think he gets a slap on the wrist. A black guy get caught with 2 vials of crack, he's going to mandatory minimum, some crazy shit. So that's just straight up racism right there. I know this is not what we want to talk about, but this is, and then it kind of, they got everybody. They got all the crackhead, the crack dealer. They're all in jail. They're all doing their time. So then what happened? The opiates came out. And then it kind of moved out. And then, if you're white in the ghetto, dude, you are white in the ghetto, you get pulled over all the time. I can't mention a couple names because they're tied to famous people, but I have someone in my family coached a lot of now famous NBA players, and used to get pulled over all the time just for picking up these kids out of the projects to bring them to the court because he was white. And this is when the opiate thing started happening. And he used to get pulled over all the time. Where it was crazy. Like, what do you do? Like, and it was terrible. These are fucking kids that are fucking playing basketball. They're trying to get out of the fucking hood, and now their coach is being accused. Like, it's just. So yes, there's reverse racism. It's the whole thing, but I think it's all systematic, and I think it's all done. And I, honestly, man, I'm not too sure. I feel bad for cops in a way because they're doing their jobs, which I know it's a terrible thing to say because that's what you can say about Nazis and the whole nine. They're just doing your jobs.
No, it's bullshit. I don't go with that at all. I don't believe in that nonsense. They're just doing their jobs.
I think it's like we talked about, the structuring of police makes it difficult right off of the bat. Because
that's what I'm saying. The whole system is
we're
fucked.
already paying them with our taxes. Why are they hunting us down for more money?
Yeah,
every
the whole
month?
system is fucked.
Their money, they extort us for their money all the time.
That's my point. Yeah, we're already. Are they not here supposed to work for us, and we pay them with our taxes, and then they follow us around to give us more tickets?
Yeah,
because our taxes aren't enough.
That's exactly what that I was talking about earlier. There needs to be reform in the law enforcement because look at what they're doing. They're finding loopholes for everything that they do. For example, with the tickets, it used to be that unmarked cars can't pull you over because anybody can buy an unmarked car and pretend to be a cop, buy a cop uniform. So unmarked cars aren't allowed to pull you over in New Jersey. So what do cops do in New Jersey is they make those cars that have the all black, and the police only shows when the light reflects on it.
Yeah.
And that's how they get around that loophole, so they can now pull you over in a car that looks like an unmarked car. And it gets so many people because we're focused on driving. We're not focused on the reflection on the side of the car.
Yeah.
So they're just and they're pulling you over for a seatbelt or some nonsense that they're just taking money out of our pocket, and they're already taxed, especially in New Jersey, taxing us through the wazoo. And it's insane.
My point with all this is I feel like this is even deeper. Like, we're all pawns. All of us, including the fucking cops. And I don't even say fucking cops, but even the cops, that we're all pawns. And it goes deeper by the flooding of the opiates, the flooding of the fentanyl. These people that
have to realize for all this to work, the local municipalities have to be involved in some way for their entire system to work, not just with the drugs, but for pretty much everything that they're trying to do with, you want to go into the human trafficking and things like that. Local municipalities have to be involved in some way. And you see it going on right now. Look what's going on in Seattle with the local municipalities.
Wow, that's going to be a disaster.
So people don't realize that going out to vote for your mayors and your assemblymen and councilmen and women in your local areas, how important they are, because we're seeing it happen right now in front of our face.
It's like Pauly Shore. What was it, Biodome? Right? It's so fucking true. When he said, think locally, act globally. Dude.
Making a filter.
It's so true, man. It's so true.
I remember that movie that one.
Was it? I think it's Biodome when he goes,
stop thinking globally.
He goes, you got to start thinking locally to act globally. And he's so fucking right. I was a little fucking kid watching that, and I'm like, he's so right, though, man. That's so true. Like, it's so important. Like,
it really is. It affects our daily life. Like, that's what affects us most, not so much.
But that's where the change is going to come. Because you know what? The local people are pissed off. The local people that are just like you and I, that got to go, they have a side hustle. They got to work. But they're still doing what they're doing. They're inspecting and they're doing all this stuff because they don't make millions. They're pissed off too.
Well, that's the issue. Most people are like us. Just working week to week to try and make it happen. Mike's taking off. He's going to pee.
Of course he is.
He's got a baby's bladder.
He's a child. He's a child.
No,
No, you're 100% right. It's wild what they're doing and I think the cops, like I was saying earlier, I think they need to get it needs to be a total overhaul with the hiring process. I think, you have lawyers that are going to school for 8 years to become lawyers and learn the law and how it works, and cops are going to 3 to 6 months of training.
Yeah. And that's physical training and stuff as well, tests and all that stuff, I think, versus just only school classroom time.
So in my opinion, I think a good start in changing the hiring process would be, at least a 2-year minimum program, at least minimum. And I think a year of which should be weekly visits with a psychologist to get a psyche eval. And it's not a foolproof plan, but it's going to help weed out a lot of bad apples and figure out what type of person this person is and whether they're getting the badge for the right reasons to actually protect and serve for the community rather than for the power trip, which in my opinion, a lot of these cops, they do it for the power trip.
Yeah, for sure.
Some, for sure. To get off
there's great cops, don't get me wrong.
There's some great people that are cops. There's some, I know a few that are really good people. And I also know some that,
You're
whatever.
like, shit, you're a cop.
Like, fuck.
I can't believe you're a cop.
No,
I know I'm in the same, but I think we all are. And
everyone, and it's an unspoken thing. Even the ones that don't want. But get off the cops for a second, because so James, when I first booked you on the show for this topic, it was late one night. I was talking to you. I didn't. It was so weird, synchronicity shit. That the next day, I think I watched a Tim Pool podcast, and he threw out there that about pretty much the same topic. He didn't bring up all the, I don't think the fentanyl and the GHB and the kids stuff, but he was saying, because I think is he like a pro-Republican guy?
No, he's a liberal. Funny. He was a liberal, but he's
all right.
Not
I don't know where he stands,
idiot.
and like he just comes
he
up.
Himself.
He's pretty smart, and he started throwing out the idea that maybe the government, and this is when I was like, oh my God, we're definitely, and he's making points that maybe the government's preparing us for World War III, which I think we've been at everyone's telling me I'm crazy. As soon as the COVID hit, I was like, dude, we're at World War III right now. And I've been saying that, and everyone's like, you're crazy. And I'm like, it's a bioweapon. I've heard many nurses that are coming out now, my neighbors, all kinds of people tell me, they don't say it's a bioweapon. They're like, we don't understand this virus. It was spread very funny. And of course, like, I don't think there's a lot of accusations to China. We're not going there, but whatever.
Are you familiar with the Dr. Charles Lieber case?
No.
No? Really?
Go ahead.
So Dr. Charles Lieber, he was the head of chemistry and biochemistry at Harvard University. So he was like
a little bit.
the head guy at Harvard University. And January 28th, the DOJ issued a statement and came out and said publicly that they were arresting him and 2 Chinese nationals.
Yes. I didn't know the name, but yes.
Yes. So Dr. Charles Lieber, he's literally the head guy in the chemistry and biochem department at Harvard, one of the most prestigious universities in the world. And he got arrested for working with the Wuhan University of Technology.
Is he the guy missing? Is he also missing?
Was he missing? Yeah, he disappeared for a little while. They couldn't find him. They eventually found him. He got indicted the other day. They issued the indictments. He's in big trouble. But he was getting money. I believe it was a $2 million lump sum or a $1.5 million lump sum, something like that. $150,000 a year in expenses, and like $10,000 a month or something like that just to live. And he was working for the Wuhan University of Technology, and he got arrested with 2 Chinese nationalists. One was going to school out here. She was a lieutenant in the military out for China. And the other one was caught trying to smuggle vials from U.S. to China. When they did testing on the vials, it was actually human DNA. So, and this is all in the DOJ report. You could see they had a full press conference on it. Yeah, and the indictment literally just happened, I believe, yesterday or the day before they issued the indictment. So that's really, really wild to me. And then you have the president and other people coming out and saying that there's sufficient evidence to say that this was a man-made virus in a lab, whether it was released on purpose
they don't want
or
to
on
say
accident.
all that.
That's a whole.
Yeah, they're not saying that exactly because everyone's being like kind of like cautious. You know, you want to accuse someone. You never want to accuse someone of stealing until you have caught them red-handed, right? So it's like, dude, there's too much out there with this fucking virus. That, like, I'm telling you, At first, right away, I was like, this the way this thing is spreading. I'm like, this is a fucking bioweapon. Everyone's like, you're crazy. Everyone always thinks I'm crazy. You're crazy. You're nuts. I don't. What do I know? Now, once again, intuition. That was just my gut. Now that quarantine's starting to stop and people are coming out, I've had 2 nurses, one in the fucking biggest hospital in New Jersey and the other in the biggest hospital in New York, tell me off the record, they don't want to be fucking named, that listen, I don't know what this thing is, but we've never been trained for this and we don't understand it. You kind of boil that down, you start asking them questions, you poke them a little bit, and I'm like, so is this man-made? And they're like, it's not natural. That's all they'll say.
I hear it all the time, and it's really wild to me because the social media, the powers that be, are silencing those nurses and doctors that are brave enough to come out and expose this. They'll start talking about it, and YouTube, Facebook, they literally remove it and just put it in the memory hole. You can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, well, who owns most of that stuff?
When you dig really deep and where money comes from, it leads back to China.
Yeah, and then you go back into this. How about this?
Because they're not technically the owners. They're not
the owners, but they own a lot of stakes. How about this? I know we're jumping everyone. I want to keep this kind of fucking linear, even though we're in a non-linear warfare with these motherfuckers. Check this out. James, you're familiar with New York City, right?
Very.
Right? You know, like, before COVID, let's say 2 years ago, all those... Do you know anyone, even if they're a millionaire, that actually lives in Manhattan anymore?
No, everybody's leaving.
No, they all left. But guess what? All the buildings are full. They're full, but they're empty. What the fuck is that? Do you know about that?
No, I did not know that.
You don't know about all the real estate that's...
Well, I know China spends a lot of money on real estate. I know that.
But they rent and they own and whatever buildings, but no one's living in them?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I knew about the ghost towns in China, but
we got them in New York, dude.
In New York. I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah, the last year or two.
Really?
Yes. When all
really?
Dude, I don't want to keep saying. I have a friend who's an artist who very very well, born and raised in New York City, photographer, born and raised in New York City. He had to leave. He was priced out. The dude makes way more money than I hope I can make someday. He had to leave. And he was down in like Alphabet City, which is kind of like the scumbag place. I mean, he had a beautiful place, but he had to leave. He had to go to Brooklyn. And then he even got priced out of Brooklyn just because he wanted to live a little, and he left. And that's when I was like, wait, what? Yeah, no, he got a lot. I was like, wait, what's going on? And this dude had a building in Alphabet City for like 35 years. And he rented it because most New York people rent.
Yeah.
But the rent just got crazy, and then you find out that there's skyscrapers and there's all these buildings, and I know a guy who is, I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he's close to a billionaire, and this is years ago. He started telling me about this, how he's whatever floor he's on and whatever the fuck he pays, it's crazy, and there's no neighbors, but it's all rented out.
What?
Yes.
It's full. So occupancy is full, but there's no neighbors. I didn't know they
Chinese
were doing.
money.
I knew they were building literal ghost towns.
Yes, they're doing that in their thing, and they say that's
for what? What's the reasoning for this?
Speculation. They're saying because of a virus, if we hit them back, that they could all move to these cities to look like. I don't know, man. Like I said, bring it back to my friend who is in naval intelligence. I'm way too dumb to understand what this is. It's non-linear, weird warfare. It's very slow. They're not gonna come here. They're not going to come here and fucking... I mean, they may. So this is... Okay,
no,
back
a war with them, physical war with them wouldn't work because of our Second Amendment and how our country is built. Like, if they came to Middle America, they may be able to take, like, New York City and a couple coastal states. But if they came to Middle America in the mountains or the people in the Appalachians, they're fucked.
Back to Tim Pool.
It's like when the Nazis went to go try to fight in Siberia in Russia. Yeah. They totally screwed themselves.
So back to what Tim Pool said. I'm happy you just brought that up to bring me back in. What he was saying was he was giving not just Trump, but this administration credit for saying that all this shit was done so we know how to grow our gardens, bake our breads, and everyone is armed to the fucking teat. So just in case, and he was saying that he thinks that there's almost like the pregame. Like they gave us the pregame because they know what's coming. And dude, my hair is standing still right now. On top, like. That fucking resonated with me so hard.
He actually does have goosebumps.
No, it resonated with me so hard.
FYI.
Well,
really?
Yeah, because Mike, you've always been, and I'm the same way. And like I said, when you said earlier in the conversation, you don't want to debate on Q. And I told you the other day, if I wasn't so in tune with the Q movement, I'd be right there with you in the beginning. Like, we're getting sent to FEMA camps. They're going to try to chip us, so on and so forth. And I'd be freaking the fuck out. I'd be losing my shit. And I told you that. I was like, yo, let's go to Costa Rica. Let's get out of the country. Yeah. That kind of stuff. Because it's really terrifying when you start to figure out whose pockets they're lying. Like Dianne Feinstein, she had her driver was a Chinese nationalist and was a spy for the Chinese government for like 20 plus years. Like they've been literally selling all of our intelligence to China, and these people have literally been bought and paid for. Like you said, they are buying buildings and no one's living in them. They're buying politicians, and they're doing literally everything that they can to influence them, whether it's through blackmail via Epstein or things like that. But
if you buy a tailor-made driver from them, though, the head will fly off. A fake tailor-made, the head will fly off.
Oh yeah, you can't.
It looks
Chinese made.
Yeah. So what Tim Pool was saying, though, right, was like about getting us all ready. And then what was interesting, I have on my notes here, is he was saying that beware, and it's exactly what you were just saying, James, that a big false flag will happen with a Chinese nationalist. And he goes, dude, nonlinear war. I don't think he said nonlinear warfare is more of a Sam Tripoli thing. But he said, dude, don't be surprised if it's like our people that do the like you know what I'm saying, like a he had Muslims Muslims like shoot up, exactly. Operation Northwoods and all.
Yeah, you start looking into what happened in 9/11.
Of course. So he was saying like look for like some spies like you were talking about, but some spies that will cause a big casualty event in the city, and that will be like, oh, now we're at war with China. Dude, I don't want that shit.
Like 9/11.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you think like the trade war that Trump is in with them? Do you think that accelerated all this?
No, like that's for James. I have no idea.
They probably had a deeper foothold, right, before basically the embargoes got put on, and maybe they got pissed at that, and then.
So China hasn't been paying their fair share as far as the trade war goes because our previous administrations. Like I said, it's not Democratic or Republican.
Bush too. Everyone.
They were all selling everything. All of our manufacturing, everything was being done in China, and it really put our country in a tough situation, not just as far as our products being made over there, but with people's jobs and things like that were being shipped overseas. Yes. So we weren't able to support our families, and it was hitting us on a very personal level, not just for the federal government or any kind of war like that. And the president, he's been putting that trade embargo in, and it caused China it kind of forced their hand. It really kind of forced their hand, because if you follow what's been going on, everything that the president's been doing, people like John Kerry, Obama, they've literally been following the president or going beforehand to talk to the leaders of where the president's going to have a meeting with, to kind of let them know, hey, listen, we're going to get this guy out.
They have big Chinese deals, right? Where they basically, they have big Chinese deals, right? A lot of these politicians.
Oh, without a doubt, they make a lot of money from China.
Yeah, right.
But like I said earlier, they're tied in not just politics. They're tied in our agriculture. They have deals in pretty much every industry.
Dude, the pork deal? The pork deal. Huh? I could tell you, I know about the pork deal.
Yeah.
I know about that. One of the restaurants I own, most of what we sold was pork. And the company that we got our stuff from, we visited the plant, the whole nine. And then a couple years later, it was all Chinese. I'm like, wait, what?
They're buying all Chinese.
And they would take all the good stuff, too.
The farmers are talking about it. They're like, listen,
dude, the farmers, follow the farmers. That's where I got woke as fuck, and I hate the word woke. I got away by talking to farmers. Talk to farmers.
That's where it brings me back again to the great job our president. I got to say, first off, happy birthday to the man. This guy's a legend. But guy's a legend. But
his birthday today?
Yeah, it's his birthday today. Yeah, absolutely.
Is that why you scheduled this, Mike?
No, I did it. He's with Winnie the Pooh.
I was going to wear my hat, but I just got a fresh haircut because our barber's just opened up out here in Vegas, so I wanted to show it off.
So happy to put that stupid
But look at what he's done for the farmers. He's literally he's dedicated a lot of time and money to bring back farming and our agricultural industry and protect our farmers, because they're being overrun by these big companies in China and bought out, and they can't compete. They literally can't compete. A lot of these farmers are family-owned businesses. They're family-owned farms that have been passed down for generations.
Those were cut out a while ago, dude.
Yeah, but why is it?
Those were cut out. These are big, fucking huge. Go ahead.
I mean, a lot of them, yeah. But why is everything forced that way? You know, basically, yeah. I mean, I guess this
Dude,
is
we
a
need to do a
rhetorical
whole
question,
episode on
but
food because food is. I'm telling you, food.
that could be a
got-
double with mine because that's a,
Yeah.
and
Be
I
a crossover.
Yeah, I'll
'Cause-
talk to
Well,
you.
you start
Clint
getting
Files.
into,
Check it
you
out.
know,
Clint Files.
Who funds what Monsanto's doing, things and where they're getting their money. You can go on and on and on about that
Always
stuff
follow
for-
the money. Always follow
Yes,
the money.
yes.
And then even the Monsanto's food is ruining the environment because it's got the pesticides
Glyphosate.
already
Glyphosates.
inside of it. So then the bugs won't eat it, and then that's washing off of
Dude.
it into the lakes and
Killing the bees. The glyphosates.
killing all the flora in the ponds and lakes and
Yes.
stuff.
And
Yeah,
your
putting all the
stomach.
fluoride to the calcifier pineal gland.
Well,
and-
yeah, he said flora. You said fluoride. But yes,
yeah.
That too.
you could throw that in there too. I think the Germans threw the fucking fluoride in the water, but we could blame it on the fucking
They did,
Chinese
but it's still
too.
in ours.
Blame it on the fucking Chinese for that one
Yeah.
too.
Well,
No,
China,
it comes down to the money.
But you know what?
who's
One thing I
pumping
want to
the
say right
money?
now: don't blame Chinese Americans. Go to fucking Chinese restaurants. That's bullshit. That's so disgusting that people are not going to China. I went to a Chinese restaurant yesterday. That's fucked up.
I'll tell you, the Chinese food in Vegas, it's shit compared to East Coast Chinese food. But when the
dude-
coronavirus hit, I went out and I
Dude.
bought some chicken lo mein and dumplings.
Yes.
I was like,
fuck
I
that
was
shit.
like,
You know what?
going
I'm
to eat some
Italian.
Chinese
Clint's
food.
Italian. James, I know you got some Italian in you. We were fascists at one point.
Yeah,
To the
we had
Americans.
start-
But you know what? We're here. We're in this country. So don't do that. That's fucked up. One thing I got to say, anybody's taking a little bit away from this thing, is I'm not talking about Chinese Americans or any Asian Americans. Support
No.
them.
or even just Chinese.
The
Over
Chinese
Yeah, I mean,
people
even the
hate-
Chinese
hate their
people.
government.
yeah,
The
Bottom
Chinese
line is we
people-
all don't wanna
look
fight
what's
each
going
other.
on in Hong Kong. Look
Yeah.
what's going on in Hong Kong. You have
Yes.
all these people in Hong Kong waving American flags and fighting, literally using everything that they possibly can to fight off their military because they don't have a Second Amendment. They can't own guns. So they're using anything that they possibly can. I think a guy had a spear or something like that. He
They
hit
do know
somebody
they
with.
know how to take care of the tear gas, though, with the little leaf blower and the thing.
Yeah,
They know
that
how-
was he's a legend. He's a legend, that guy. It's a genius idea. Modern problems need, modern solutions. And he figured it
James,
out.
James, we're gonna. I
But-
know we got to let you go soon, but this is where I go so deep. Is that you're right? Those people, the Chinese people. This is not about them. It's not about the American or the United States people. It's not about any of the people. It's about the tyranny who runs us, and
Yes.
that's where sometimes I get a lot of criticism on this. But sometimes I'm like, one world, one thing, not the fucking UN. But sometimes, like, we're people. I get a little bit like, well, I don't know where to go. Where sometimes
when you
I'm like,
talk to people of other cultures, you find out that they're not much different than
we're all the
They're
same,
all
man. We're all the same. We're
just trying to
tired.
live and make a living and support their
Yeah.
family and love
Yeah,
each other.
feed our family, love each other, have a couple beers, hang out.
Enjoy life.
That's it.
Exactly.
I
That's it.
think, yes, everybody, and like we just discussed, and it's probably not been broken down, at least to me, like that, but it's not all the citizens of these countries that we have an issue with. It boils down to that's what people end up disliking each other or whatever, but we're not mad at them. We're mad
No.
at their government, whoever's doing the same, ass screwing to them that they're doing to us here.
James, isn't
You
it
know?
true in World War? I'm sorry, isn't it true in World War One? Everyone took they stopped for a second because the wolves were killing everyone. Where they all got teamed up and just killed the wolves together.
No, I'm not 100%.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
everyone
to
check
ask
this
my
out.
buddy- I'm going to ask my buddy
Dude,
Felix.
I'm
He's
almost
my history guru.
I'm almost positive there was a time in World War One where everyone kind of like put their hands up, like, guys, we're gonna stop killing each other. These fucking wolves are just destroying us in our trenches, and they had fun and killed wolves and drank and had fun together. Because,
Well,
dude,
they're not the one. They're just following orders in the military, and it's very tough when you're in the military. Police, I find it a little different than just the military.
it's kind of the same shit. It's like System of a
It
Down
kind of-
says.
Kind of.
System of a Down says that shit,
uh,
right?
But it's not a code like a Blue Falcon code in the military like there is in the police department and our law enforcement.
You know what?
They'll snitch on some corrupt people out there.
Yeah.
they don't.
Yeah.
They have no time for nonsense.
Yeah, yeah. After it gets a little crazy, yes, that's true.
Well, and
That's true.
again, because
That's true.
Because why? Because on the whole, military over in situations like that are much more grave danger than cops are on the regular. So it makes you operate at a different level because you guys are, if you have somebody in the field that is fucked up, you don't want that guy with you.
No, and that's what it comes down to is like, and that's why they have the cops have the blue Falcon code to begin with, is because when someone snitches on you, they're like, I can't trust you, and they don't want to work with that person. In reality, it should be the opposite. It should be the exact opposite.
That's them having a code and allegiance to each other versus
yes.
having a code and allegiance to the people, which 100%. Is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
without a doubt. And I think that's what we said when Mike was going to take a piss, was that I think the hiring process needs to change. I think the training needs to change. Like, you watch these cops.
Maybe the pay needs to change.
Oh, but listen, cops in my town that I grew up in make $250,000 a year.
I know they make good money, but teachers and they should be the way we treat fucking doctors and lawyers. Let's talk about lawyers. Let's talk about lawyers.
Lawyers are on the up. Doctors are on the down right now.
Well, that's a whole other episode on the Clint Files about insurance
and just the way the doctors get screwed.
How they get paid on the Clint Files. You can find that on iTunes.
But I always say, why, for teachers at least, teachers like, we need to get paid more, and I agree. But how much gooder are you going to teach because you got $20,000 more a year?
If you give them enough money,
are you going to teach more? What are you not teaching?
We can go down that rabbit hole as well, because I think the whole schooling system needs to change just as bad as the law enforcement system needs to change.
What I was going to say, guys, because I know we're running out of time, James, you have to go to your mother-in-law's house or something like that. The whole system's got to Rome is on fire, and the whole system's got to come down. And we can change it. We can change it. We definitely could change it. And dude, the Great Awakening, something is happening. I always say 2012, probably shit got, now we're in 2020. And
well, you saw they just posted that someone misread the calendar. And I was like, that's a stretch.
Yeah,
no, I believe that.
That's always the easy one, though. We're so sure it didn't happen.
Dude,
okay, let me listen. It was a calculation error.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really going to happen in 2020.
I always thought after 2012 that the first year it was a great year, but then things got really weird, and I kind of felt like we jumped off a timeline. We're going deeper.
Have you ever seen? And I brought this up before. I need to find it. There was an old Roman college student or whatever the fuck they called it back then, and
scholar.
There you go, scholar. And he was studying the timelines of every great civilization. And they all followed the exact same line. And it's great freedom and independence.
Oh, yeah.
Then they all became capitalist and made tons of money and everybody was happy. And then they started to vote themselves in benefits from the government, and it was America is here, and it lined up fucking exactly with the timeline of every other civilization he said ever.
He showed Michelangelo running an Antifa organization.
Yeah.
Right? He's just fucking, yeah, man. We're just lined up. It's lined up for some destruction, but positive. I like to always think positive.
That's what I like to believe.
Apocalypse doesn't mean anything. I think we're seeing, dude. About to open up my business again, and I'm preaching to everyone that back to normal. Which we're not back to. The old way is
Mike,
gone.
please do not say new normal. Please,
yeah.
God.
No, I don't say new normal, but I'm we're back to normal.
There's no more.
No, I say we're back to normal.
We'll get back to normal, and I think it'll be better than ever.
Yeah, but why? We used to live in caves and have some animal skin over our junk, and be barefoot and run through the woods and get rained on and everything else.
Yeah, we were probably fucking kings back then.
How did we? We have full face masks.
Yeah, we were.
But my point is, how did people survive for that long without antibiotics, without this, without Zoloft, without all this shit? How did they do it? We're so advanced, but so not advanced at the same time.
Yeah, you could go into. It goes back to the food. They're literally poisoning us, and the things that they're exposed, like our cell phones. This thing is like a radiation thing. I sleep with it away from my head.
Yeah. Poison.
Dude, and that there are a bunch of chemicals in our food that are banned in almost every other country. Yeah. That they were like, hey, listen, they're banned in 3 years. You got 3 years. And I'm like, why would they do that? And the only thing I could think was that they needed to be able to figure out a new formula, like
Yeah.
one molecule
Yes.
off, so that they would then be legal and they could pass it for
Yeah.
us. But I even
Yes.
thought about the police brutality and all that stuff, and they said that a lot of it circles back to mental health. So they're trying to defund the police and make more social service people. But again, that I think
Let's look
is
into them. A lot of
that's
them are
true.
kid diddlers.
But that again is treating the symptom, not the cause.
yes.
And the symptom, I thought about it. What could be making everybody crazy that they didn't have 200 years ago? And I looked up sugar's effect on your
And-
mental health.
and glyphosate.
And it also shows that that's terrible for you. So
Our food is pumped with sugar.
instead of us fixing
Fake sugar.
all of this food that's causing all this stuff, cancer, I'll tell you how to fix cancer. Fix our fucking food. Make it all natural. Go back to all that. That's ADD. Like, half of that shit is all from the food, and then they just give you one little pill, and they go, dude, hey, don't change your diet or exercise. Take this teeny pill. That'll fix all that.
You think the Chinese are eating Count Chocula?
Like,
like we were talking about before, China has a big stronghold in our pharmaceutical industry, and our
they're
pharmaceutical
definitely paying the
industry
pills
at the end of the day is a business. They don't make money. They don't make money off of curing people. They make money off of repeat
treating.
patients.
Yeah.
So back to our food, one of their favorite things to prescribe people is cholesterol medicine. They're like, oh, you know what? Your cholesterol is really high. Here's some cholesterol medicine. You have to take this every day for literally the rest of your life.
Like, that's not diet directly affected.
Exactly. And you could literally just go change your diet and change the way you eat.
Or diabetes type 2. Type 2 diabetes, isn't it 2 the one that you develop?
Yeah.
And then they're like, you have pre-diabetes. Take this pill. No, how about you stop eating fucking cupcakes? What are you talking about? Take this pill.
It's crazy. They don't we haven't had a cure for a disease or a major illness in decades, and since the 50s. Why is that? Our technology has gotten better. We've made way further advancements since the 50s than we had back then, and no cures, cancer isn't even, there's not even like a hope for it to
How
get better.
long have they been fighting cancer? How about the fact that this is all Clint File
That's
shit.
okay.
Now we're getting into fucking talk
That's all right.
food. It's just such a joke the way that they prescribe
Dude,
these stuff.
what about a
instead of
chicken?
just- what do you mean?
All the
this
steroids
shit
they pump in the
it?
chicken. The chickens, they look.
When
they
I
look
was
so
a
much
kid, my
finer.
grandma raised chickens. They were like little things.
Yeah.
You need a few of them to feed a family.
Yeah.
Dude, these things are so big now they fucking can't stand up.
Well, that's ironically when we were in China. I told you the restaurant where they're like, "Go ahead, catch your own chicken."
And the chicken had a wolf's head on it.
No, no, they were just small.
Oh, they were little.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were normal
So
chickens.
they feed their people back to China.
Yo.
They feed their people regular fucking chickens.
Oh yeah, dude, they were little ass, like just in the back of
Our
the
shit looks
restaurant.
like Ronnie Coleman.
The
Every
restaurant
fucking
had
chicken.
their own.
Yeah,
That's what
seriously.
I was like, this is a little baby.
Jay
chicken.
Cutler.
Is
Every
this a?
fucking chicken looks like Jay Cutler.
I was like, is this a baby chicken? What do you guys doing?
That's a real chicken.
I know.
That's what they're supposed to
And it
look
tastes
like.
so
Meanwhile,
good.
our chickens are just juiced out of their mind.
Yeah, they had a little yard behind the restaurant, and we went there, and they're like handed us a fishing net, and they're like the dudes, the promoter guys, the promoter, like the dude that drove us around, the promoter was like, hey, take them over to that restaurant and have them
Catch their own
tell
chicken.
them to let them catch their own chicken. Yeah, exactly.
Well, they used to have something like that in Patterson. Do you remember, Mike? Did you ever go to the chicken spot in Patterson?
Yeah, but the difference there is that you cut the head off, you drew a pentagram, you did Santeria, and you became a millionaire 2 months later.
Oh, there,
Oh, yeah?
so there you go. Listen,
If you knew the guy, you threw him
Sacrificing the
100.
Malak?
If you threw him
Are we
100,
sacrificing the Malak here?
yeah, you
Hillary
sacrificed.
Clinton's taking a chicken to her backyard and
Yeah.
sacrificing
In
the
Patterson,
Malak.
if you knew the guy, you gave him 100, and that's what you did.
You didn't do it.
No,
I
there's a
did
spot
it.
in
I did
Patterson-
it.
in
But that's why I
Patterson,
got
New Jersey,
fucking
my
3
grand-
ACL surgeries and fucked up because, like, what goes up must come down. So it doesn't- it was good
But
for
no,
a couple
I
months.
don't know if it's still there in Patterson, but you used to literally go to a shop and they'd come out of the back and they'd hold up 2 chickens and you'd pick the one. It was a tiny little chicken, and they'd
cut
go in
its
the
head.
back, kill it, defeather it, and they'd hand it to you. It was still warm. And I was a little kid going. My grandfather was off the boat from Italy, so he had to eat everything fresh.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
That
could
was
be,
his spot.
Yeah, it was his spot. He could never buy store bought chicken. So you
Yeah.
have to go and it would smell to high heaven. I remember it smelled vividly.
Oh, you go in the place. I used to go for my grandparents. Yeah, to the
my great grandfather loved the boat. He'd go in his backyard and shoot the rabbit with a BB gun. And cook. I'd open up the freezer. There's still a rabbit in the freezer. Like that's how old he's born in the old country, Italy. Yeah, the same town. So actually, our grandparents
we're from the same town, which is so great.
Well,
yes. And I used to feed my grandfather's rabbits. We thought they were all cute, and we feed them, and next thing you know, we're eating them. But yes, we're from.
Yeah, you'd open the freezer, and there he is, looking right at you, dead in the eyes. It was, but
you know what?
Like that anymore.
They lived long, good lives. They lived through shit. They lived through some hard times.
Yeah, my grandfather lived to 96.
And
great grandfather.
Exactly.
96 years
old.
My
grandfather was 95, full head of hair. They lived a long, and I remember if you pulled out a bottle of Advil, it was like I pulled out a bottle of fucking Oxy-80s. They'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, they didn't believe in that stuff.
What the fuck?
They had,
no way.
They had all these home remedies.
Yeah. You should throw a little olive oil on you, smack you in the face 3 times.
Apple cider vinegar, Get the wooden spoon out.
Yeah, hit you in the fucking face with a wooden spoon a couple times till you go to sleep. Like, stop being a fucking baby. I'm about to use the F word, but times are a little hard, so I'm not going to use that right now. I'll say baby. I'll say weakling. I'll use the F word right now.
Yeah, that's how they would treat us.
My grandfather would have called me the F word, and I'm not talking about fuck.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
He would have called me that a couple times and smacked me in the mouth and said, "Go to sleep."
Just shut the fuck up and leave me alone.
Shut up.
I'll say it.
James, we didn't really go too deep with China, but that's okay because you know what? This show someday is going to be a 3-hour show. Clint doesn't know it yet. But it's going to be, because we got to dive deep, and I'm going to have a lot of my friends on where we're going to digress. But, James, thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to coming back on.
Yeah. We're going to have part 2. We're going to have part 2. We may even do a swap cast, and we'll do all kinds of
I want to
stuff.
get you on with us for sure. Maybe if Clint wants to join put in his 2 cents.
I'm always down.
Where I go one, Clint goes all. We will bring him.
Absolutely. When we go one, we go all, my friend.
Mike needs me to run the sound.
Hey,
don't
fucking expose me.
Well, that's what I need Nick for. I need Nick to do all my production value. He's supposed to teach me tomorrow on how to do it. So, because we did an episode 3 days ago, and it's still not out, this guy.
It's still out there. But, check it out. Guys, listen, I'm going to have you plug yourself, but James.
Production guys, right, Mike?
Production fucking guys.
Screw you guys.
James, you do have a podcast that's blowing the fuck up. Go ahead.
Yeah, check us out on We.The.People.Radio. You can find us on YouTube. We're going to eventually be on all podcast platforms. We're still working on it. We don't have a tech guy like Clint. We're doing it by the seat of our pants. But, give credit to him where credit's due because he's doing great work. I see you guys all over the place now. But also you can check us out. A lot of our content gets posted on Instagram, We.The.People.Radio with periods in between each word. I'm sure Mike can link it below.
Yeah, we're going to link it. We're going to link it.
Check us out there. We go down. We're big into asking questions. That's what we're really big into. We're trying to find the truth in everything, not just in politics and what we're talking about today in China and things like that, but in fitness and nutrition, every aspect of this world, sports. That's what we're trying to get to the bottom of, and just ask questions rather than being told what to believe. We believe in free thinkers, and that's why I was excited to get onto this podcast. It's a free thinker.
He does. And guys, side note, I know people are very upset with people that are maybe Trump or whatever heavy. Let me tell you something. These are real free thinkers. I know these people. Everyone on that podcast is somebody I've known for a very long time. And like I said, we don't have to always agree about everything, but these guys are the real deal. They're free thinkers. They're not sheep, and they question everything. You know, if Trump told them to do something that didn't fucking add up, they wouldn't fucking just follow. That's not who these guys are. I love you, James. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Check us out. We'll be on No Carnival Parking at the end of the week. Clint, you got anything going on?
No, not yet. I'm going to schedule my guest for the Clint Files. But you can find everything that we do over here. No Carnival Parking, the Free Thinker Society, the Clint Files, all on freethinker.tv. So maybe we'll even talk to you. We're trying to make a little conglomerate of some, some free thinker content. So
I'm always down for a collab.
There you go. Always. And try to just promote our friends and promote our projects. So really just check that out. Everything will be there. freethinker.tv.
Thank you so much, everybody. Peace.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yes, thank you.